Right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start this lesson off by giving all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakudash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors to our brothers who are fervently preaching the word in sincerity and in faith. Shalom to the sincere Akwat. Shalom to the scattered Israelites who are amongst these heathen nations and look like these heathens. Now this lesson is going to be based on this inquiry that was ordered after a building fire killed 15 people in North India City. So through this spirit, I'm going to read this article, get some precepts, and Lord's will you're edified. It says an inquiry has been ordered after at least 15 people died in a fire that broke out in a building in the northern Indian city of Lucknow on Monday. The building housed a pet shop and an animation center. Witnesses described people jumping from windows and climbing down cables to escape, while rescue teams broke through a wall to save lives. The cause of the fire is yet to be ascertained. Authorities said the building lacked emergency exits and people got trapped inside as smoke spread. The tragedy has renewed concerns about fire safety in India's densely occupied commercial buildings, with several deadly blazes in recent months exposing violations of fire safety rules. The victims included trainees and employees who were inside the building when the fire broke out, according to officials and relatives. An inquiry has been initiated. Brajesh Pathak, Deputy Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh State, whose capital is Lucknow, told reporters. Authorities have been directed to ensure that such incidents do not happen in the future. The fire was reported at around 14:45 local time on Monday in Lucknow's densely populated Aliganj area. The pet shop was on the ground floor, while the 2 floors above were occupied by the animation and 3D gaming center, officials say. Flames and smoke engulfed the building's only staircase, cutting off the sole exit. Firefighters reached the terrace via a neighboring building and breached a side wall to begin rescue efforts. Witnesses described scenes of panic as people trapped inside tried to escape the smoke. Some climbed down power cables, while others jumped from windows. Several were seen calling for help from inside the building, and dozens were injured. Anurag Ajha, who witnessed the fire, told BBC Hindi that people trapped inside were calling for help from the windows. He said, I was resting in my room and there was a foul smell outside. When I looked, there was a huge fire and people were crying for help, he said, adding how people in the area started throwing stones to break the glasses of the building so that more people could escape. Another witness, who identified himself only as Aman, told Annie news agency that local residents rushed to help after seeing smoke coming from the building. He said, we rescued 5 or 6 people, he said, adding that one man jumped from the building and was seriously injured. Several victims managed to contact relatives while trapped inside the building. Prabh Hujjat Singh told BBC Hindi that his son called him during the fire and said, there's a fire, save me, I'm trapped inside. But by the time he could reach the spot, he said it was too late. Mohammed Shazan, 19, a trainee at the animation center, called his family to say he was trapped. His brother told BBC Hindi that Shazan had taken refuge in a washroom to escape the smoke but was unable to get out. Relatives of some victims said a biometric entry system controlled access to parts of the premises, making it harder for people to escape when the fire broke out. Police have filed charges over acts causing or endangering life and arrested 4 people in connection with the fire, officials said. 4 public officials have also been suspended. The Lucknow fire comes less than a month after a blaze at a bed and breakfast in India's capital, Delhi, killed several people. Yeah, so, it's just a lot of judgment going forth, in regards to fires as well. And in places like China, places like India, places where, there's a lot of overpopulation and not a lot of safety measures. When earthquakes hit, when storms hit and tempests hit, when fires happen, there's not a lot to protect people or to keep them safe. And granted, those of us of the hopeful elect, we understand that all of these things are judgment from the Lord. The Lord sets things up so that he can bring judgment upon these wicked people. Like it says in Psalm 79:6, pour out thy wrath upon the heathen that have not known thee, and upon the kingdoms that have not called upon thy name. And this is a primary example of that. The Lord pouring out his wrath upon these heathens. Ecclesiasticus 39:28, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Verse 29, fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Verse 30, teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. And this fire was used to punish 15 people to destruction, because 15 people have died from this fire. And this is ultimately the judgment of the Heavenly Father being executed by his spirits of vengeance to appease his wrath. Isaiah 29:6, thou shalt be visited of the Lord Yahweh of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. And we've been seeing more and more these flames of devouring fire. More buildings on fire, more houses on fire, more brush fires, more wildfires. And these are just signs of the times, signs of the last days, signs of the days of vengeance that we're living in, and signs of the Lord visiting this world which he made and bringing judgment upon these wicked people. Psalm 7:11, Yahweh judgeth the righteous, and Yahweh is angry with the wicked every day. And that's why these severe, deadly judgments take place every day, because that's the anger of the Lord towards these wicked people being manifest. Psalms 9:16, the Lord Yahweh is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Hegion Selah. Yeah, and these fires, these deadly fires, are the judgments of the Lord. And those people who died were the Lord's target. And also the people who got injured as well. None of these judgments are accidents. Deuteronomy 32:39, see now that I, even I am he, and there is no power with me. I kill and I make alive, I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. And in this judgment, as with many other judgments, the Lord killed some people and he wounded other people. And for the people who died, there was nothing that could have been done to save them. It wouldn't have mattered if there was a sprinkler system. It wouldn't have mattered if there were several exits. It wouldn't have mattered how fast the firefighters got there. Those whom the Lord wanted to kill were always going to die. 1 Samuel 2:6, the Lord Yahweh killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. And that's exactly what the Lord did in this particular case. He killed those 15 people through his spirits of vengeance. Job 4:7, remember I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? And the answer is that nobody has ever perished being innocent. Those people that died were not innocent in the eyes of the Lord. The Lord was angry with them. And yesterday, being Monday, was the day in which the Lord decided that they were going to die. Verse 8, even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. And that's what's happening in these last days, in these days of vengeance. The Lord is making these wicked people reap what they have sown. Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. Yeah, for those 15 people, it was their time to die. That's why they're the ones who couldn't escape. Or maybe some of them died while trying to escape, in the sense of like them jumping out of a window or something. They were too high up. So when they jumped out of that window, they died. And that's why the scriptures say that it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. Hebrews 10:31, it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. And that's right, because those people who were trapped inside, they had to have been terrified trying to escape. The stairs were blocked off by fire. There was like a biometric security door that a lot of people couldn't get through. It must have been a very terrifying, panic-filled situation for them. But this is the type of situations that the Lord will place you in when you're wicked, when you provoke him unto wrath. This is why myself and other brothers are constantly saying that those of us of the hopeful elect must continue to daily examine ourselves to make sure that we're doing righteousness in the eyes of the Lord. Because we want the Lord to keep us safe, not put us in these type of situations where we could die. But these wicked, simple-minded, ignorant people, they're never going to listen. They're going to continue to be wicked, and the Lord is going to continue to judge them accordingly. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. In closing, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash, the water Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, for putting the spirit on me to do this lesson. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors to our brothers who are still fervently preaching the word in sincerity and in faith. Shalom to the sincere Akwath, and shalom to the scattered Israelites who are amongst these heathen nations and look like these heathens. Hope you all stay strong, stay safe, stay fervent, stay circumspect, stay prayed up, and Adawan Rataza. Till next time, Shalom.